you're number 2. I mean, that is a good point.
I think we might start seeing some go back. We are in the off season. That means it's time to talk toughest regions. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin, Sideline to Sideline, right here on L4 Media and S2S Sports Network. As my voice is a little butchered right now, as I just got back from coach's school yesterday. We'll talk about that. Before we do all that, though, how you doing, buddy?
Doing gregreat.
Still
Man, I wish I
used to
could
the
have been
setup.
down to coaching school with you.
I am so glad you weren't. Oh, I mean, I wish you'd have been there too. No, it was a.
Wow.
Look, we've talked multiple times about the move and why we did things, and this event being at coach's school was great. A reason why to go down there and to have a booth, to have a presence other than just walking around, it just solidified us, and it was great. So many coaches coming up and talking about, hey, we listened to y'all. We listen to y'all on Thursday nights when we're doing our final preps for Friday, or we listen
what
to
their record is after they listen to us, and that while they're doing their preps.
That's a good question, actually. Now, I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. You might
probably not 0 for 98.
It's close. Well, I do know a couple state champions that listen to us. I do want to go ahead and get this out of the way real quick. If you hear a hum, it's 104 degrees as we record in this little studio with lights and stuff. So you might hear the air conditioner. It won't be all year, but for the first couple shows, it probably will be because it is cooking here. But I think the biggest compliment that I got was for us as a show and as a network was when a coach that we do a show with messaged me and said, I've had 3 coaches in the last day tell me that, oh, I see why y'all do a show with them. Like they know what their stuff, that they're good guys. And we appreciate all the coaches that came by, all the coaches we interviewed. Appreciate Matt Stepp for coming in and we talked to him, and we can kind of talk about that here in a minute. But before we do that, we want to thank our title sponsor. You saw their video at the beginning if you're watching this on YouTube. SI Design. You can find them online at sidesign.net. Now they do college and high school wraps, and they do all the cool stuff like rebuild lockers. As you saw in the ad, they also, they do things like truck wraps for windows. If you're a lawn maintenance guy, or if you do patios, but they also do custom sport prints, and you can find that online at sidesign.net/sport prints. And that's like trading cards for your kids. If your kid's playing football, trading cards, a poster,
trading cards for kids.
Yeah. For like, if you're playing, you can have a trading card you can hand out at school.
What? Really?
I think we should get some. Like, right, you know how they could do action where we can either be like we're talking, like
action figures.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I like. Yes, that's what I'm saying. We could do that, or we could do like those old 50s, all the football 50s, where you bend down and I'll be over you pointing, and you're looking like you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You bend down. I'll point. I don't want to bend down in front of you, so you bend down in front of me.
What's wrong with? Okay, whatever.
I'll point. You can't read a defense for crap anyway.
That is true. I mean, Madden, I'd throw for 400 interceptions. I just keep doing the same thing.
I used to be all-time quarterback for my little sister and her friends and stuff.
Wait, that's not a good thing.
They were tomboys. They would come over. No, it was. I met some cool chicks that way.
I bet you they probably could have played for Roy City.
Wow. All right.
I was saying
after Longview Marshall this year.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Speaking of, I got to. I happened to be right in line to Coach King. He was right in front of me, and he was wearing one of his THSCA officer shirts.
Kenny from San Marcos now. Who'd you say?
John King, head coach of Longview. John King of Longview.
Okay.
And so he was wearing his THSCA, and I jokingly said, "Well, that's a lot prettier than your Lobo green." I'm not kidding. He turned around and said, "You must be from Marshall." And I said, "Yes, sir." But yeah, we had a great time there. But anyway, custom sport prints. You get posters. I was looking. One of my favorite ones is University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Their volleyball team gave them out as senior pictures for their senior class that were senior night. And so if you're a coach listening and you're looking at SI Design for maybe redoing your locker room or your offices, also check out the sports prints. It's a great gift to give on senior night. And if you're a parent and you have a kid that's playing, or heck, if you have pictures of yourself playing a sport and you want to throw it up on the wall, like I know Grant's already going to do that. He's going to he's going to pay Noe to act like Noe's missing a tackle or something, and then we're going to put that. That's what we're going to put. That's going to be right up here, actually.
Find a helmet to fit Noe's fat head anymore.
Yeah, I still think he has a picture of him playing on his wall, and I think it's fake. I think he faked it.
It looks legit.
You can't see his
like
face.
An undersized two technique to me.
Oh, he was an undersized left tackle. You got to give him credit for that, though. He had good feet, supposedly. Anyway, what we're going to be doing?
Good feet.
What we're going to be doing?
That's what they always say about kids getting made it.
Well, no, it's always if I wouldn't have got injured. If I wouldn't have got injured, I could have played. I would have been college. I'd play college. I hear that so much.
If you have good feet, you're one play away from playing flute up in the stands. I'm just saying. No, you do
need good footwork to be a band member. That is a good point.
Yeah, or saxophone,
big
whiny. That's a big whiny.
I bet he would
instrument.
He would be a tuba. No, he'd be a tuba. A lot of hot air.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
he'd probably let you get behind him and point.
We're 8 minutes in and you're already cutting me off as I'm trying to say. This is why last week, by the way, folks, this is exactly why last week the one show turned into two shows, because the first half of the first show went an hour by itself, mainly because Dingus over here was cutting me off. Just saying. So what we're going to be doing tonight, toughest regions, 4A, 3A, and 2A. We do love the feedback we got on our show last week, the Dark Horses, YouTube views. Wow. We don't know what to think we're going to do with the YouTube stuff, and we really appreciate that. I didn't put the 4A up on audio only. I will. We were just trying to kind of play with how we put the show up and what gets numbers. The 4A Dark Horse will be an audio only as well. And do not worry if you do listen to us only. We're going to have audio only all year long. Basically, the way this will work is we will record on Tuesday night, and the audio only, this is going to blow y'all's mind, it will go up the same night. I know that's new because that never happened at other website. And then Taylor, our executive producer, he will edit the video part and he'll put it up on YouTube on Wednesday. That way, if you want to watch, I know a lot of people said they actually enjoy watching, and I give Taylor credit. He had talked about, and Brett had said it from NTSN. He was also down there. He said, coaches will be able to see who you are. And I had a couple coaches literally say, I wouldn't have known who you were, but I just happened to watch y'all's Dark Horses last week.
That's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing. Well, I mean, especially as pretty as I am. I want to be the face of the franchise. I want to be the guy that goes out.
This franchise is in trouble.
It's been in trouble since 2007. So, again, we're going to talk about toughest regions. But before we do that, some breaking news hit Dave Campbell's last week on Friday. And they came out with the news. And I think you and I literally talked about this last year once they bought Texan Live, that we kind of felt that this was a path that they were going to do. But basically, on Fridays this year, you're going to have a Red Zone channel. They're going to be at 50 games basically every week, at least to start. That's where they're starting, is at about 50 games a week. And they're just going to run through each one and bounce around. They've got a partnership with UNT, so they're going to have interns and they're going to be out there filming. I think it's a great idea. I think
it's a game changer for the
I think
sport.
It could, exactly. And their goal is, and as Matt said on the interview, the chances of it ever being 100% is going to be tough. But I'm going to tell you what, you've got schools now that are 2A that have video guys. Everybody has a video guy. Sure. And so if they can tap into those people and get their feeds, you and I, we usually take about 3 weeks where we don't travel. And it'll be nice to be able to just pop that up and just sit and and it'll also help us. I know we don't talk, especially at this network now, we don't have to talk 5A and 6A, but you and I still like it. We still always try to go to at least one or two during the playoffs. Like last year, Duncanville it was fun seeing them just in person on the sideline. And you just realize the difference between 6A and 3A football is just wow, and good and bad on both sides. But I will admit, I can't wait to have that Friday where we don't go and I just order a pizza and just pop that on and just watch that all night long. Now, the biggest thing for you and I is I hope they remember the little teams and it's not just 56.
They will. It's state Campbell's and they do a
Matt
good
Stepp,
job.
You know, that was the thing when Matt Stepp was writing for Friday Night Lights and you and I were helping, that was the one thing he always talked about. And people forget Matt Stepp got his love of all this from Everman, who was 3A at the time. He started 3A Download. That's where you and I met. That's where we used to put our shows only. And so I trust that he will, but again, it does come down to technology and where they can place it in. So yeah, don't be surprised if it's early. It's a lot more 6As, but I wonder, and I forgot to ask him, I'm assuming this goes through the playoffs, which is another game changer.
I would assume it's 16 weeks, right? Or 17 weeks, I guess, with your bye week and all that. So 17 weeks. You know, we could do a lot with our video, kind of record some red zone stuff from the smaller schools that we're at as well.
And just watch them ourselves
or post them up.
And by the way, we're going to be having, I have the camera this year. And again, we have more control of what we can post now. And so, that was already the plan. Oh, speaking of, let's go ahead and get all this out of the way now. And this is why we might end up splitting shows, but I want to get it out now because we're starting with 2A tonight on our toughest regions. You and I have already got our first week schedule set. Yes. And we're excited to announce that we will be in Timpson for Timpson versus Beckville Thursday night. We're going to stay the night somewhere. And if we stay close enough to where it's early enough, we get to the hotel room, we're going to break out and might do our first live show. If people remember 10 years ago, that was a thing we used to do on the old coach. We used to do sideline to sideline, coast to coast, after dark, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to go see Lorena versus China Spring.
Yeah, and that sideline to sideline, coast to coast. We get a little football, UFOs, ghost, right?
Stalking, drinking.
Yeah. All right.
But then I'm excited about Lorena and China Spring.
Oh, that's an awesome one. Well, both games are.
It's the first time Lorena's going to be without Ray Biles, the head coach that was there for 31 years or whatever. So we're curious to see what they're going to do. That's a great rivalry. Those teams are not fans of each other in a good way.
Returning loaded teams.
Both teams are returning loaded teams.
And so is Timpson Beckville. So
it's
going to be
a blast. Week. And so that's going to be our first week, and we're excited about that. So anyway, what we're going to be doing tonight, as we said, is we're going to be talking toughest regions. And then next week's show is going to be toughest districts, and then we'll do tiers. And then August 5th, that's when we're recording our 3 big R's preview shows. And we would like to announce the return of Grant Goodwin to outdrank the coverage, as we're going to do our Big 12 preview show from your place when we do the big R's. And we're recording our 1970s Cowboys versus 90s Cowboys. You're going to join us in on that because, all jokes aside, I have little memory of the late 70s Cowboys. You're a few years older, so you have more. And I think that's a good bridge between like where Noe didn't become a fan until 93. He wasn't even a fan of the 92 Cowboys. His first football game he watched, amazingly enough, was Houston versus Buffalo. The Buffalo comeback. And so he became a fan in 93. You've been a fan since the 70s. I've been a fan since the 70s, but really I knew more of the 82, and on. So he's going to be back for that. We're going to be, of course, posting all that on all of our social medias. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to start at toughest regions. We're going to start 2A tonight, go 2A, 3A, and 4A on toughest regions. And we'll do that when we come back right here on Sideline to Sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing, right here on the S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media Company. Media. We talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out. Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin back here, Sideline to Sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing, right here on S2S Sports Network, part of L4 Media. And as we were talking about it, I meant to play this, but this was kind of our day one. Good job, by the way, of Taylor, again, our executive producer, putting this together. But playing right now is just our day one, how it went at coaches school. I just wanted to one more time thank all the coaches that joined us. Speaking of, Cody Ross, head coach of Beckville, joined us. We had a good group of coaches. James Ray, head coach of Lumberton, who, by the way, he graduated from Marshall. His dad was not famous, but he was the well-known coach that also coached at Richardson Pierce. And so, Bobby Reyes, Reyes, excuse me. And he graduated in 96. And so they were just right after me, but
Lumberton's going to be loaded.
That quarterback this year is a beast. Yeah. Again, their issue.
What a surprise the Raiders were last year.
Yes. And their issue, and he even talked about it, their issue was defense. They've got to figure that out. But he thinks that them, just like you've talked about a couple other teams when we were doing these notes for the show, it's a team that's gotten, more experience, and that does help. And also we talked to Mike Ludlow, brand new coach at White Oak. I'm interested in them. We talked to Ray Garza, the head coach of Iowa Colony. They're a team that we talked about on our Dark Horse team. They're loaded. He confirmed that they're basically going to be 5A next year. So this is a good chance for them to kind of get in before, because that's a 5A that's a really tough region right down there. And so you want to get in kind of like Shadow Creek, to get in quick and then move up and you figure it out. But anyway, we do appreciate everybody for joining us. Let's start it now. What we're going to do, we're going to rank the regions from, I don't want to say last, just toughest to still tough, but not the toughest. I always hate when we use last, and I know I'll say it a couple times because all these regions are really good, but there are regions that stand out, obviously, Grant.
And we'll go from 4 to 1.
Yeah, we'll go to 4 to 1. Okay. And so let's go ahead. I'm glad you said that, because I think I would have went the other way just out of habit. All right, let's go Class 2A Division I. And our fourth toughest region in 2023 is going to be Region 1.
Right. You've got Hawley, returning state champion with a lot of dudes back. That's what bolsters Region 1. One of the reasons that you could actually make a case for them being higher in this 1 through 4 ranking. And then Stratford, they're going to be tough, right?
Yep,
and
I agree.
Stratford kind of bolsters that. After that, it's Sonora and Cisco kind of in your mid tiers. But after that, there's only 2 of those mid tiers. And after that, you might have New Deal, Stanford. It's if you had a couple of more mid tiers like Sonora and Cisco, I think that would have, it's depth. And that's what we rank these regions on a lot of, is depth.
It's either depth, or if you're like you'll see in a couple other classes, if you're just so top heavy, that can be a deciding factor, but we do prefer depth.
If you have 3 tier 1 teams in a region, then I think
that makes up for maybe not having a bottom group
district. You'll see next week in our, we've got a couple in Class 4A that aren't real deep districts, but they have 1 or 2 real,
that's a really good point,
tier 1 teams in that district, and that bolsters them over teams that have 1 tier 1 and several, tier 3s or whatever.
And these things are so cyclical. We've talked about that many times. And again, this is the first time we're doing 2A. So this is the first time you're getting this kind of what we're talking about when it comes to 2A. But these things run in cycles. And you're also talking about, with split divisions, 4 districts per region. So, I mean, one district not being great can completely torpedo what is otherwise a pretty stout district. Right. And I think that's the thing that hurts this district when you look at it. Sonora is a team that I think is a region semifinalist, but they should walk through their district, and that's the district that, in my opinion, kind of held this region down. So we have Region 1 as the 4th toughest region. Let's move to the 3rd toughest region.
I will say Sonora, along with Stratford, might be one of those teams that actually challenge Holly for the region, though.
I think that could happen. I'm not against that at all.
Sonora might be one of the underrated teams coming into this season.
And you mentioned them as the dark horse last week. That was your first dark horse, actually, in 2A.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the third ranked toughest region in Class 2A Division 1. And on this one, we went with Region 2.
Yeah, and a lot of it was Toller is a Tier 1 team.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Crawford is on the line of Tier 1, Tier 2. I think Crawford could be considered like a Tier 1. But Toller and Crawford really are the bell cows of Region 2. But it's, to me, honestly, it's the Axtells, the Marlins, the Hamiltons, and the Colemans, along with Toller and Crawford, that push Region 2 over Region 1.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, especially when you look at a team like Marlin, who, 2 years ago went 11-4 and kind of awakened that team. And then last year, and I say this as a compliment to Coach Ruben Torres, last year they took a step back and only went 7-5. But that tells you that Marlin might be finally about to be back to where they're a consistent team, because when 7-5 for them 3 years ago would have been the peak season. I mean, it's just amazing to me where Marlin is now to where they were 10 years ago.
And that part of the state outside of Mart, he has kind of struggled with numbers.
Yeah, they really have. And even Mart has to an extent. Yeah, Mart's just had a really good 25 players. That's the biggest thing. And you could even make the case that the reason Mart might have left 2 state championships over the last couple of years is they have run up against teams that's kind of wore them down.
Maybe had to hide a dude where they didn't have to hide somebody before.
And that's the thing you and I always talk about. That's literally what every coach talks about now. It's not your top dogs. It's who you can hide the most at certain positions.
Right. Or how many you don't have to
that's literally football now. The RPOs and stuff. I was watching during the coach's school how defenses are adjusting to the RPO now, and that's just simply taking the outside backer on the weak side and stretching him out a little further. But even as he's saying that, he goes, that now leads us to where we're open to draw plays and stuff. And the guy made a point. You need to, for all the talk about running backs and their value in the NFL, and he said, look at the running game in high school and college. You're starting to see more and more teams have those 2,000-yard rushers again and stuff, because linebackers are smaller because they have to run in space more. Yep. And also they're having to spread the field more because that's what offenses are doing, making them spread the field. Yep. All right. So that is Region 2 as the third toughest. Our second toughest in Class 2A Division 1. And the difference between Region 3 and Region 4, because that's the only two, is not a lot. We could have flipped these and I'd have been perfectly fine with it. Right. But the region that is considered the second toughest, that is Region 4. And there's a lot of depth. And the difference between Region 3 is number 1, again, and Region 4 is, like we talked about, one district. One district in Region 4 just doesn't have anybody that's on the state level.
Look, to me, the reason Region 4 is not number 1, and I think a lot of people might consider Region 4
because of District 15. Yeah.
But the reason I don't is, look, you got Refugio, and Refugio, to me right now, Refugio, Timpson,
that's 1 or 2,
or Beckville, maybe throw in Cooper, right, are going to be in the semifinals against each other. But to me, if I were a betting man, Refugio would be the odds-on favorite to win again. Ernest Campbell, I mean, come on, man.
They were supposed to be a step back last year. Timpson was supposed to be the team last year, and it was a great game. But what happened is Refugio also had a lot of sophomores and juniors take a ton of snaps, and they're all back this year.
And they just came in and wore them down, and the physicality of Refugio. But the reason that or Region 4 is not number 1 is Shiner's a little down this year, right?
They're still good, but they're
still good. They're still a great football team.
Yeah.
If Shiner was returning anybody from last year's team, their playmakers, Region 3 would be number 1 hands down.
Yeah, totally agree.
Right now it's Refugio and Shiner, and then you can throw in like Mason, Holland, Three Rivers, Ganado, but I just don't know that they match up just quite enough on the top end to unseat Region 3. to me as the toughest district or region. So I think Region 1 or Region 3 is the toughest region in 2A Division 1 because you got Timpson and Beckville, which we're so blessed to be able to go out to that game.
And the great thing is they're at the caddy corner. So as long as both of them win their district, we won't see them till the region finals.
Right.
And that's huge because some of these regions, you get your top 2 teams playing in that first round or second round.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm like you, what you're about to say. I am so pumped to be seeing that game Thursday. We had never actually talked about it, but I was so I hope that's where he wants to start. Not only because it's a great game, but it's our first year doing 2A. So why not be at the main event to start the season?
Big heavyweight fight again. And let's hope Beckville can hang in there a little bit more than they did against Timpson last year. You know, we watched that game as well, kind of both online.
Yeah.
But,
you could tell Beckville. It was one of those where they
blinked.
Yeah, well, and I think they were so into that game. And Coach Ross talked about it on our THSCA interview, where this year they're kind of throttling it back. I mean, they're still doing all the prep and all, but
still got one of the best running backs in Class 2A.
Yes, and we talked about him and that. They had to not be so much into it to where when the energy from that first quarter was gone and it became just a football game, Beckville kind of was out of gas.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what you got to figure out. So anyway,
I think it was Timpson, Beckville, and then you had Cooper, Centerville,
a team
Garrison,
like
Honeygrove.
You're really big on Honeygrove.
I am. I did not have Honeygrove as a dark horse. But I think they could be considered a dark horse.
Well, you brought them up, though, as we were talking of the show. You did bring them up.
Honeygrove played Cooper pretty well last year, right? I think Cooper has the talent coming back to be considered in the same tier as Timpson and Beckville.
Wow.
I really do.
I don't disagree, but
I think especially during the first 10 weeks, 11 weeks, Cooper doesn't have anybody on their schedule that I would think they would be an underdog to.
Well, and that's kind of the whole problem.
I mean, they should be, minus 14 to 21 in every game they play.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems in a region that we're saying is the toughest, but their non-district schedules just aren't. I mean, they play Grand Saline. They do play Hooks. Now, let's say that. I will say that.
Yeah.
They play Hooks, but then they play.
That'll be a good game to actually go to. And
because last year was 21-14.
And you know what? Maybe we need to go to that.
Yeah, that's week 2. So that's they do. Grand Saline and Hooks. I guess they sound a little better. And I will admit they played Collinsville. Collinsville had a good season last year.
Yeah, Collinsville should be pretty solid.
But going this year, you're right. And last year I kept saying it when we were talking. When we got to the point where we were talking all the playoffs, I kept saying I didn't think Timpson would lose to Cooper, but I thought Cooper would give them a good game, and they did. Mm-hmm. Timpson kind of wore them down as that game went. But anyway, so our toughest regions, Class 2A Division 1. Now we go 1 is Region 3, 2 is Region 4, 3 is Region 2, and 4 is Region 1. All right, now let's go to Class 2A Division 2, and we will start with our 4th toughest, and it's, again, Region 1. Now, the region...
No, wait, I thought we had Region 3 as the 4th toughest.
Oh, I had it as 3, so it's 4. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I had 4. And
you had Region 3?
Region 3.
Okay, let me make that. Go ahead.
Okay, because you have Mart and Price Carlisle. I think Mart being the heavy hitter, Price Carlisle kind of a little bit outside of Mart, but still pretty close to the same tier as Mart. And then you got Love Lady, and then dropping down from Love Lady, Tenaha, Sims Bowie.
A lot of questions about those teams. Tenaha could be. People are saying Tenaha might be back, but until they're back, we don't really know.
They're great.
Yes.
And if you went by name, then Region 3.
Well, and let's honestly talk about the elephant in the room. There's a team that if they were eligible to play in this region, Alto, Region 3
Alto's loaded.
Region 3 would maybe shoot all the way close to the top of the 1. They definitely wouldn't be the 4th region, but they don't. The one thing I don't like, I understand.
They might go 11-0, but we can't consider them because they're not going to do anything past district.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not even considering Alto. And I hate to say that because I want to be able to consider the
because this is a really good squad. And
right.
It's
but
tough. But yeah, that's right. You're right. I just didn't make that switch. All right. So you've got Region 3 as the fourth toughest.
Yeah.
Region 1 is the third toughest. Now, what I was going to say now, compared to Region 1 and Division 1, I think there is better depth spread throughout the whole region. But again, when you look at the next two, Region 2 and Region 4, it just doesn't compare. But it's not because Region 1 is really weak. This is why we don't call them last and so. It's because Region 2 and Region 4 are just that good.
Yeah. Let me tell you why Region 1 is not weak. Wellington and New Home, and then throw in Sunray in there, maybe Clarendon and Sudan.
Hey, those are two teams that could throw some curveballs in the playoffs if things break right.
But the reason Region 1 is not as tough in my eyes as, say, a Region 2 or 4 is because they don't have any mid-level teams.
Exactly.
That you would consider a close to Tier 1, Tier 2 team. Like your two Tier 1 teams are Wellington and New Home, I think, right? Those are the top dogs in the state.
And they should meet in the region finals.
Right. And who's going to challenge after that? I don't know if anybody does. So that's why Region 1's number 3. Number 2 would be Region 2. And one of the reasons Region 2 is the second toughest region is that district number, 7?
Yes.
Right? District 7, man, that's tough.
Yeah, you got Archer City, you got Seymour, you got Windthorst, and Windthorst took a step back last year. You know, them and then like Munster both kind of took steps back last year. Munster because of just a ton of injuries, but both of those teams were playing for the region the year before, and both of them got the one good thing is if y'all don't remember or maybe you've never heard, we have a Munster coaches show here on the network. And the one thing that Coach Carney talked about was the positive of last year was a lot of guys who wouldn't have gotten snaps, got snaps, and they're all coming back this year for Munster.
Yeah. And then let's not forget Albany.
Albany, of course, the
region. I mean, that's the hands-on favorite for Region 2.
And don't forget
right?
Collinsville.
Oh, yeah. I think Collinsville and Albany are the two.
Yeah, I think they're the two bell cows
right?
this year. Yeah, at least going into the season. But if Collinsville stays healthy, watch out for them. They might end up taking that region. So that means that our number one region in Class 2A Division 2 is Region 4. And somebody's gonna say, well, now y'all said earlier that one region didn't go higher because they had one bad district. Region 4 might have one bad district, but it's got two really, really good ones, including District 13.
Yeah,
I'll put you this way. I'm not going to tell you.
District 13 has Bremont in it,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not going to tell you where they rank, but there's two districts in this region that are in our toughest district show for next week. This, that's how good the two are. And Bremont, and as you talk about them, you got Granger, you got Chilton, you've got Falls City. I mean, this is a tough region where I genuinely.
Chilton has one of the best athletes in 2A Division 2, right? Bremont is Bremont. Falls City is
Falls. They're becoming just Falls City.
Yeah, the Beavers, right? And then, Savinaw and Granger aren't going to be too shabby either. So this is a loaded region in 2A Division 1.
No, I totally agree. So, all right. So that is our Class 2A Division 2 toughest regions. Again, they are Region 4 is number 1. Region 2 is number 2. Region 3 as number 3. And then Region 4 is number 3. And then Region 3 is number 4. I still have my notes wrong. All right. So that is 2. I see how easy this is when we actually put our head down and actually talk about football. It's amazing how these go. We're going to take a break and we're still learning 2A. So 3A and 4A still might drift a little because we do have better memory recall on things like that.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to help us out from the 2A world, just email us. What's our email
Grant
address?
and Terry at s2ssport.com.
That's 2 S's, right? S2S.
Sport. Yeah, good point. Sport. Good question.
Yeah.
Very, very good,
I was
Mr.
trying to email
Goodwin.
myself, and I only had one
Dude,
S,
are you sending yourself pictures again?
Pretty bad pictures, dude.
Of yourself?
Like you can't open them up at work. All right. It's like buying a pics.
What?
You ever drink hot dog water? No?
Chocolate
All right, let's
starfish.
go to break.
Anyway, let's go to break. And when we come back, we're also going to have Coach X's as he once again for the 12th year in a row does not understand what we mean by toughest regions or toughest districts. And he just sends us, well, I'll just go ahead and say it, a load of crap, but at least it's funny crap. And we'll talk about that when we come back.
Is it funny?
I mean, for him, it is.
Okay.
So I've never said this before. All right. Before we go to break. So about 12 years ago, we got a letter. And they thought we were Make-A-Wish. And they were like, look, if we have a guy that thinks he's a coach, and they sent me the movie Radio, and they were like, basically, it's like radio. And so they were like, could you pretend for a while? And I'm like, okay, he won't last long. Some bitch is still alive. And so we just have to keep taking it. But his mom does send us $5 every week.
And he got married. And he's got like 2 kids now.
Yeah, and they're all it's radio
Weirdest
over the
thing
family.
Is, like he told me the other day, they were trying to find a sitter so he and his wife could go see the opening of Barbie.
I'm going to see Barbie this weekend. I can't help it. Yeah,
are you really?
Studio girlfriend wants to see it, and so she came and did great work for us at Texas High School Coach Association.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Margot Robbie, but you're going to see it because of
Ryan Gosling.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, we're going to take a break when we come back.
Judge, man.
Coach X and the toughest 3A region. Here on Sideline to Sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing.
Okay. I mean, that was a good point.
I think we might start seeing some go back.
Mary took to running with a traveling man, left her mama crying with her head in her hand. Such a sad case, so broken hearted. She said, Mama, gotta go, gotta get out of here, gotta get out of town, tired of hanging around. I gotta roll on between addictions. Just an ordinary story about the way things go, round and around, nobody knows, but the highway goes on forever. That old highway goes on forever. Lord, you never would have done it.
Grant Goodwin back here, Sideline to Sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing right here on S2S Sports Network and L4. We now have Coach X, and then we'll, of course, have the 3A toughest region. But before we do that, again, as I said, I do apologize for this, but I almost said intern. No, maybe we should start calling him Intern X. Coach X has never understood the ranking thing, so we've never got his toughest regions or toughest districts or anything. What we get now is this, and I do apologize. Here we go now. Oh, by the way, for all those that have always wondered, this is legitimately, like, this is what he writes in. We still have people that don't believe that there's a Coach X. And so he really writes these in. And so here we go. Here we go now. It's time for the Coach X part of the show. The often imitated, never duplicated, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. Have I hit up enough sayings or those cliche things, you know, those things that people say somebody else has said a lot of times? So you want to know Coach X's toughest regions? Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think he meant cliche.
Yeah, but he spelled it Clecy.
I mean, it is Coach X.
Yeah, I mean, and he teaches spelling at his schools. I should tell you.
Spelling. They have language.
They have
spelling.
I'm sorry.
Reading and writing and arithmetic.
Yeah, they have senior level spelling. I'm sorry, I had the overlay on. Here we go. That's what I was trying to say. That's actually Coach X's notes for people that don't know. But anyway,
copied and pasted an email to the sideline to sideline.
Do you think his mom and his wife work on him for him? Like he has
probably
to because he can't spell.
For sure.
He got that one line in before they edited the Clecy.
Okay, this is a run-on sentence. This is cliche. It should be cliche.
Exactly. So here we go. So you want to know Coach X's toughest regions, Coach X's toughest guilty pleasure songs that you will sing as loud as you can in your truck if nobody else is in there. So again, we don't even get toughest regions. We get a really long list. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Coach X, the one for the next show, we're going to have to cut in half because Jesus Christ, you write too much. All right, here we go. I'm sorry.
On the JC. Easy on the JC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were.
I don't say that. I
Yeah,
don't.
you say so many other
Don't
things.
roll tape.
Yeah, Taylor, roll some tape. First, the honorable mentions. Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney. Bye 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 by one of those random boy bands. And Hanging Tough, the original boy band, the Old Men from the Street. All right, so number 5.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've already heard one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we could get AI to do his stuff, right?
Wow.
Mix in a little.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, a little Peter Griffin mixed with some hee-haw.
And some actual talent.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, here we go. Number 5, Call Me by Blondie. And I will go ahead and say this, Coach X, I cannot read all this because we're already at 54 minutes and we still got 2 classes. So Call Me Blondie. I love 80s music and I love blonde-headed women. So how would this song not be on the list?
I like brunettes too, though.
I always get distracted during
redheads aren't bad.
I always get distracted during the song, but I'm pretty sure the song is about an 80s booty call, so that makes it pretty awesome. Not a booty call for the people in their 80s, but a booty call for people from the 80s, which is almost putting us in the 80s, which were probably in their 20s and 30s then, so I guess that would be 70 now. Terry, is that what y'all used to do back before you could text a pic of your private, say, come and get it? Hey, but don't do that. Ask Brett Favre, but the girl he sent the pic is... Good Lord, she's hot. Okay.
She was.
Yes, but he's on a rant. So number 4.
But no girl deserves an
unsolicited,
private pic.
Number 4.
Rick pic. Rick.
Hey,
pic.
Hey, Rick. Number 4, Redneck Woman.
Who was the governor? Rick Perry. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Hey, Rick Perry. I got something for you.
This is a Texas football show.
All right. Number 4, Redneck Woman by Gretchen Wilson. I do like that song. Now, I know when you hear that name, you think that girl has to be like 70-year-old with a name like 75-year-old with a name like Gretchen. Like the last woman I think that was named Gretchen, I used to read in the textbook about women who wrote their men from the Civil War. By the way, one of my favorite Twitter ever was the guy that wrote like he was Andrew Luck, but in the Civil War, because Andrew Luck always had a neck beard. And so like the day Andrew Luck retired because of injuries, he wrote this long and it was in Civil War.
Andrew Luck's still for the Colts.
Dude, he's been retired for like 5 years now.
Look it up. I think you're wrong.
Okay, that's why we're gonna have Grant on out during the coverage. Wink, wink. Anyway, let me see. Anyway, I like that part in the song where she says she can wear a thong from Walmart and not break the bank. I like a woman that is practical.
Thong from Walmart.
Yes, I like a woman that
have such a thing.
Yes, I like a woman that is practical and still likes to bang. Who doesn't? Terry, I see your. See, we should have never told him we were doing video because now he's going to have all these video jokes where we're claiming, like, I see your hand in the air. Which part of that sentence did you have a problem with? Let's run a poll on Twitter for which one we think it is. Anyway. Okay, between both of y'all tonight. Jeebus.
You said it. Y'all said.
Poll. I'm just going to go number 3. Shake It Off, Taylor Swift. Okay,
I don't mind that one. That's
all
pretty
of
good.
His songs, though, are just pop candy hits. For this guy that claims he's so deep and, you know, he loves deep music, he likes
I've
all
never heard him claim he likes deep music.
Right.
He went and saw Barbie.
I'm going to see Barbie.
Both of y'all went.
Are you going to go watch? Are you going to go watch Oppenheimer?
Yes, I am.
Actually, I am too. I can't wait for that movie.
I went to Los Alamos 2 years ago.
Yep, I've been there a couple times.
I've been there.
I used to go over to Cloudcroft all the times.
3 times.
I used to go by it every time I was out in Cloudcroft.
So I've been to it like 9 times.
But it is a cool. That's a cool area. It's very cool.
The cool museum.
Anyway, so Swiftie checks in at number 2, and oddly not with a song about how bad of a girlfriend she is. You got to think a girl that hot with that much money. It's one of 2 things. I know where he's going with this. A, she doesn't put out, or 3, she does, but she sucks, or maybe she doesn't suck, and therein lies the problem.
She kind of looks like she might smell like onions.
But maybe. Nevertheless, I am so glad we did the 2A part first, and most of them have probably tuned off because the 3A and 4A world, they've had this for 12 years almost.
We need to keep moving.
We need to get moving. Okay. Yeah. At number 1, Roar. Katy Perry. I like that song too.
I do too. I will turn that
number
up in
2.
the
I'm sorry. I thought it was number 1. Number 2.
What could be number 1?
Hey, before I get too deep into Katy, if you're listening, and I know you are, go back to being a blonde. You looked much better. You look so much hotter to Coach X. We all know that that is one of the things you aspire to do. If you go too deep into Twitter, you'll find that all these people that think Katy got replaced with a robot because her eye wouldn't open or something like that. I say, hey, Katy, you got the eye of the tiger, and I want to hear you roar. All right, and the number 1 song, guilty pleasure song for all of us. Oh, I agree 100% with this one. For all coaches out there and non-coaches, you can listen up. It's Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. That came out in 2013. That was also the year that Robin Thicke came out with his song, that Blurred Lines, and both of them were just earweevil music.
Get back to Miley Cyrus. I want to hear this.
Now, this was close between this and Wrecking Ball.
It's kind of in the bank up here.
But damn it, I like a much happier song about a party in America, and this song combines both. I like the part where she says, and the DJ played my favorite jam, and a Britney song was on. So I put my hands up there playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Yeah, it's a party in the USA.
Do you put your hands down there when you think of her?
Okay, L4 Media, please help.
The run sheet. I meant the run sheet. Do you put
need some help. I need Taylor to be in studio, to be a live producer that can cut this between y'all two. It's like a 3-year-old leading a 2-year-old.
You don't even know we're down there.
Anyway, you're welcome, because now that song is stuck in your head, and you know it is, and I bet 50% of you will YouTube that for the ride home. My list was the best list, so much than Terry's too. I'm already ready. I'm out. This season's already a grind now. I was so excited after leaving coaching school with professionals. And then I remember he is a professional. Well, Make-A-Wish professional. That's my thing this year. He's a Make-A-Wish coach. I think it's brilliant. All right, let's now get into some actual football. We're going to talk 3A. We're going to talk Division I. We're going to talk toughest regions. And let's do that now. Where do you want to start, Mr. Goodwin?
Region 4 being the 4th toughest region of Class 3A Division 1. Look, you got Edna, right?
Yeah.
Edna is going to be the bell cow of this region. After that, I don't think you have any Tier 2 teams. You got some Tier 3 teams that are close to Tier 2, in Llano, Blanco, Georgetown, Goliad. But really, Edna's the clear-cut favorite. I don't think there's many challengers.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those teams out of Llano, Blanco, Goliad, Georgetown could probably push them a little bit, but I think Edna would be your clear-cut favorite here.
Yeah, I mean, when
their size, their athleticism, it just,
we saw Llano and Edna and last year, and Llano hung around, but Edna just grinded them down before it was said and done. And I know each year's teams are a little different, but the makeup of both of these teams, I think we're going to see them play again in that round. And now,
maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's Goliad.
Maybe
Jordan, I don't know. But the main point here is, though, the one big heavy hitter in this region, there's only one, and it's Edna. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Region 1 is the 3rd toughest district, in my opinion.
Toughest region.
Region, in my opinion, and it's because Brock is probably one of the, a state favorite, right?
Yes.
But then you got Bushland, who, takes a little bit of a step back, still going to be really good.
Yep.
After that, you got your Paradises, which Paradise is going to have a great, their quarterback's one of the best.
I think Paradise is. We said it last week. I think Paradise is a dark horse, not only for the region, but for the district.
Probably maybe even the region. Maybe they can push Brock.
Yeah.
We'll see pretty quick, because Brock and Paradise are in the same district.
Yep.
Then you got Shallow Water, Jim Ned, Whitesboro out there. I think Jim Ned's going to be a lot better than what people think.
I think Whitesboro takes a big step back because they have to replace a ton, including Mac Harper, one of the best quarterbacks in that region last year.
Yeah. He was a Case Keenum type quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say this is not, we said this in the 2A show, but this isn't necessarily because Region 1 is weak. It's just the next two regions are just deeper because Region 3 on a lot of years, this might be your number one toughest district. I mean, District 4 in of itself, and I know they've had a lot of turnover with Peaster and Pilot Point and Ponder, but at least two of the three I feel have truly made really good hires. I think all three did. And so it's not that Region 1 is weak at all. It's just they just don't happen to be as strong as, say.
They're not as top heavy.
Yeah, they're not as top heavy as, say, the number 2 region, which is also the number 2 toughest region, as you've got Malakoff sitting there. I think a lot of people, not us, and we don't pat our back a lot, but I
think it comes down to Malakoff and Winsboro in this region, right? And Malakoff is, and
look at Pottsboro. We kept writing Pottsboro off week by week in the playoffs, and they just kept going. But what I was going to say is, people thought we were crazy when we thought Malakoff was going to win the region in the playoff preview show. We both felt that they were going to win the region, and all of them are back. That quarterback's a sophomore last year, so he's a junior this year. You've got Atlanta over in District 6. They are expecting – now, let's see how they play with the target on their back, because as we've seen, that's way different. But I like this whole district, or this whole region is just really, really tough. And then you have a district like 7 that's really top heavy, and then the rest of it, it's got a lot of churning, but it's such a big district, you can still have a great district in it. And that's why this whole region, there's not a weak district in this region, in my opinion.
Right. No, I don't think so either.
And let's not forget, what is Mount Vernon going to do now under a new coach with a new team? Will they fall back, or will that winning way, has that set a tradition and a foundation?
Well, as I've been a big Mount Vernon fan over the last 4 years.
Yes.
They really, stepped up, and they've been fun to watch, but I think they take a major step back. Not that they're not going to be a thorn in somebody's side in this region.
Yeah.
But I think your Malakoffs, Winsboros, and even Grandviews, Pottsboros, and maybe even West. I know West kind of lost a lot. They're going to be the bell cows here in this region. And I think the toughest region in 3A Division I is going to be Region 3.
Yes. Right? And that's because you've got District 11 and District 12 back-to-back. District 11, we talked to Coach Mark Fannin at Coach's School. First off, I didn't even get to tell you. I showed it on the video that we recorded with him. The ring this year, holy crap. It's the biggest state championship ring I've ever seen.
Really?
It is as big as Super Bowl ring. It's beautiful. Huh. But even he had acknowledged that they're in a district this year that if Franklin don't play right, they could end up going in as the 3rd seed.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how tough that district is. And, oh, by the way, right up against the district with Columbus and Hitchcock, 2 top 10 teams. And then you've got a Yoakum team that you're very high on, that I'm very high on as a dark horse. And then you still got Hallettsville. I mean, this whole region, man, Anahuac over in District 10. Anahuac has a chance to be special this year. The Panthers return everybody.
Here's my big dudes in Region 3. Franklin, right? Columbus.
Yep.
Hitchcock.
Yep.
I mean, those are 3 big ones, right? Columbus. I mean, that's.
That's big enough right there. We're not even talking about the eyeballs, the Anahuacs,
the Cameron Yo. Cameron is back on the way up.
Oh, very, and they're just in a really tough region that district. But even we go back to what we say all the time, and I know they're looking or they got a new coach again, but Crockett always has talent. Right. Cold Spring last year was supposed to be a lot better, and at times they were, but then at times they weren't.
Yeah.
Look, Region 3 is just deep. I mean, you can give me 4 teams. Now, I'll go ahead and say 5 teams. I could see 5 teams possibly winning state from that region.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not even counting like an Anahuac who might get lost in the shuffle simply because of this region. You put them in another region, they're a favorite.
Franklin pretty close last year. So
second round of the playoffs. All right, so that is our Class 3A Division I. Again, toughest region, Region 3. Second toughest is Region 2. Region 1 is the third toughest, and then Region 4 is the fourth toughest. All right, now let's go to Class 3A Division 2, and this is another one where the worst region isn't really bad. It's just the other regions are really, really good, and we're going to start that with Region 1 as the fourth toughest region, and mainly because, I'll be honest, if anybody beats Canadian, I will be surprised out of Region 1.
Yeah,
doesn't mean there's not good teams, but I just think Canadian is the bell cow of the region.
I think Canadian, like you said, is the bell cow. Wall kind of solidifies this region a little bit.
I agree 100%.
I think Wall's going to be a lot better than they were last year, and they were pretty darn good last year, right?
Yep.
They got a lot of dudes coming back. I think Wall can push Canadian, but Canadian's going to get a little bit of a workout with their district mate in Childress.
But I think they take a step back.
Oh yeah, Childress takes a step back. They had some trouble last year early on.
Yeah,
right?
they started out 1-4, and then got on a stretch, and then they lost the Wall. Yeah,
I think they had injuries early. They should be better, but I don't think they take a step back necessarily. But I think Canadian is the bell cow, with Wall kind of pushing Canadian. If the bracket runs right, then it should be Wall Canadian, I would think, in Region 1 finals, but can't count out Outaloo either.
No, but I think if you've ever seen, sometimes when you have transfer of coaching, especially when it happens out of nowhere with Keating retiring, it leads a void, but it just
Cavalier has been on staff forever.
Yeah, and his son, Cavalier's son, is the starting quarterback. So I just think
maybe one of the best quarterbacks in Class 3A.
Yes, and so
Division 1 and Division 2.
I just think it was almost natural that it happened the way it did, even though it didn't happen for the best reasons. And we hope Coach Keating is doing well and stuff. But I just think it's a great transition, and I don't think Canadian misses a beat. And I don't mean just now.
Oh, they might be better than they were last year.
And just going for the future, Canadian is in good hands, and they're going to be fun to watch. So anyway, that is the worst. I told you. I don't mean to say that.
The fourth toughest. Yeah.
All right. The third toughest is, and this was tough. We had debates on this one, but the third toughest is Region 2. Mm-hmm. And the biggest reason why is kind of like Region 1. You have a bell cow team, but in my opinion, this is a bell cow team in Gunner that does have a lot of questions. And I'm saying that Gunner's going to be fine, but this isn't Gunner of last year where you just circle them into the region, into the state semifinals and go about your day.
Yeah, this is not the same type what Gunner has been entering in the last 4 years. I think Gunner is the bell cow, but I also think Holiday will close the gap.
I do too
this year. I think Holiday is one of the most underrated teams right now in 3A Division 2. So Gunner and Holiday are the two big boys in this region. And then after that, that's why they're not higher, is because you got Bells, lost some. Comanche has a lot returning, but I still have some questions of their offensive line. And then after that, Scurry, Rosser, Jacksboro, Palmer.
Yeah.
Right.
Palmer has a great running back.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, I mean, he carries them. And if he stays healthy, they'll at least go where they went last year. And that was really far.
Yeah. But I still think Region 2 is only number 3 because you got Gunner and Holiday as your big heavy hitters. After that, I've got questions.
I want to say this about Holiday. We have a holiday show. We will have a holiday show this year with the new coach, Kyle Atwood. And I love what Frank Johnson did at Holiday. But I do think that a new voice with that talent is never a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And Kyle Atwood and that staff, they're coming up there, going to throw the ball. They're going to play more like Canadian than what you used to see of Holiday. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think Holiday, I'm like you, I think this is the year that Holiday might snap up and pop Gunner.
And I think if you look at them on paper, you think they take a step back.
Yes, but they really don't.
When we saw 2 of their games last year, one in person, 1 or 2 online.
Yeah, I watched almost all their highlights because of the show.
They shuffled in a lot of guys that weren't starters that can contribute immediately.
Exactly. All right, so now that is our fourth and third toughest. Our second toughest is Region 4. Now, this is where you and I discuss because I thought Region 2 could have been second, but I understood your reasoning, especially when you look at District 14. When you talk about Tidehaven, who let's see how it's going to be fun to see how they are now as a top 5 team because they've been kind of on that cusp the last couple years.
Tidehaven, to me, right now, well, I'm going to just say this. I've never been to a game at Tidehaven.
No, we've seen them a couple times in other games, so
right.
Other places.
That's one of my bucket lists, my Texas high school football bucket list is to go actually to a Tidehaven game when they play at home. So
I have no problem with that.
We got to make that happen this year.
And let's not count out a team like Rice Consolidated. You know, Brad Dumont came back last year after being gone for 9 years, and they kind of was in the wilderness for a few years. And last year they were 3-7, but they were in a like multiple, like including Tidehaven. That was a 7-point game. Tidehaven scored late to make it a 42-28 game. But Brad Dumont's one of those that has won at Rice Consolidated, and I meant to mention them on our Dark Horse team. To be honest, it's still kind of hard to talk about Rice Consolidated for personal things and stuff, and I kind of pushed them out of my mind. But I meant to mention them on the Dark Horse show. So that just adds in a very good district in a very good region. The only thing that kind of
Poth and Tidehaven are your big heavy hitters, and then you maybe one of the. Not really an outlier, but Lexington could push.
You had them as a dark horse last year or last week.
Tidehaven, and then your outliers to me are East Bernard, Taft, and Bowling.
Yeah, and that's what hurts this region. And this is your Rogers and your Cliftons and your Buffaloes, 3 teams that for years had been kind of the top teams. They're all down a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, any one of those 3 could easily bounce back. Rogers, especially, because it wasn't like Rogers was down. They just went in with a lot higher expectations last year than they were able to do, and they still had a decent season. So anyway, that means that our toughest 3A Division 2 region is Region 3, and that's because every district is a battle.
Yeah.
Every district has, I think, a true regional threat, a team that I can see winning, not only winning the region, but winning the semifinals and at least playing in a state championship. And that starts off with Harmony.
Yeah.
And
Boston Seahorn.
Seahorn.
And the way that offense figured it out after week, 6 or 7 last year.
Well, they basically just made kind of like a complete offensive change, from what I understand.
Yeah, absolutely they did. And then Dangerfield comes out. I mean,
hey, look, folks,
dude.
I know we always make the joke about Dangerfield as they can beat one team 42-0 and then the next week lose 42-0. But there's something different. There's something different now with Dangerfield.
It could be. But I still have that in the back of my mind.
I do too.
Because I think your Hooks and your Newton are still Hooks and Newton are still in the same classification to me as Dangerfield is. But I think Dangerfield is still the most dangerous animal when they're backed in the corner.
And it just
is Harmony good enough to withstand that in a region final or quarterfinal, semifinal game? I don't know.
Because let's remember, Dangerfield throttled Harmony last year in district. It was 48-21, and it was the last district game, so there was something to play for. And there has been some comments that Harmony, they played New Waverly, they played Hooks, they played West Grusk and Newton. And West Grusk and Newton sound, and they were good, but they weren't. They both had taken steps back last year.
3 big names, though.
Yeah, and it is. And no matter what,
cakewalks.
And no matter what, they got snaps in on guys who weren't. This was a young team, and they all got snaps. And they all now. I still want to see how they play with the expectations, because there is a big step from being in the dark horse to being expected. And we've had coaches tell us, like, I really wish y'all had just kept us as a dark horse, because once you get that target on your back, things completely change. But I think something special is brewing in Harmony. And I think something special in this whole region.
Harmony feels they have something to prove, and it doesn't matter. I think Harmony is going to be a force out in Region 3. And honestly, maybe a force all the way into the state finals. I think Harmony is going to be that good. I want to go see that Harmony Pewitt scrimmage here in 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it is when the scrimmages start. But I think we'll be in Port Aransas.
Hey, we're going to be there together. Not at the same trip,
together.
But we're going to maybe.
You need to know.
I might hang out with you if I have some time.
Yeah, you'll be there and I'll be there at the same time, but not together.
We might. Anyway, I want to end this segment. Don't forget Troop.
Yeah.
Sam Wells last year, they went 6-5. That was supposed to be a down year for them. They were competitive in that first round loss to Hooks, but they returned a lot. If you want, he did an interview with us, so you can hear that or you can see it too. We did a video at Coach's School, and they're that type of team. Every year in this region,
Troop is a class program.
Yes,
always has been.
Yes,
always will be.
And every year in this region, somebody gets, like last year, Harmony. A few years ago, before we knew who they were, it was Wascom 10 years ago. Yeah. Wascom wasn't a team that anybody thought anything of. And then, so every year it seems like somebody comes out of this region that surprises, and I think it could be Troop. All right, that's 3A in the books. We're going to take a break. We're going to wrap things up by doing Class 4A, toughest regions, Division 1 and Division 2, right here on the SI Design and Printing Sideline to Sideline, toughest regions for 2023 show on L4 Media.
Hey, I mean, that was a good point.
I think we might start seeing some go back. Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin back here sideline to sideline. We hit our last segment of the night, and that's time to talk a little Class 4A. I want to remind you that next week it'll be the toughest districts, and then we'll take a break, and then August 5th we will hit the Big Arch preview shows. It's going to be interesting because not only, as we said in the opening, I know some of y'all just go to the 4A, so you didn't hear the open. We're actually also, intern Noe and I are recording out during the coverage. We're finishing up our series about the 70s Cowboys and the 90s Cowboys. And then we're also doing our Big 12 preview because we're having a college show this year for Outdrank the coverage. And in saying that, we might have to cue some wrestling music because you're going to make a comeback. Grant Goodwin for the first time since 2014. Actually, 9 years.
No, last year at Frisco Bar and Grill.
Yeah, but we didn't pay attention to you. I didn't even remember you.
I was
there.
Like the majority of the show. The show was
actually, it was Kevin McPherson carried us.
Maybe
we got in Kevin's kitchen. He started talking about his tater tots
and his
hottie toddies.
His pies.
His pie. Oh, he does love his pies. Oh, my God.
Fried pies.
But anyway, so we're going to be doing those.
I gave you a football fried pie and carried that show.
I don't remember that.
I think I even predicted that the 49ers would win the Super Bowl. And did they not? No, they didn't. But I predicted it.
But yeah, so we're going to be having fun because if you don't know, if this is the first time you've heard of us, our Big Arch preview shows, we move the studio over to your place and you're going to cook some ribs and some chickens and we just make a whole day of it. But usually that means for like the first 3 hours, we're just kind of hanging out. We're going to be recording 2 Outdrank the coverages and then 3 Sideline to Sidelines, a 4A, a 3A, and a 2A Big Arch preview show. We cannot wait.
Each one of those are probably 2 hours.
They can be because we go through every district. We basically at least mention every team. And we usually by the second show, that's the one time during the year that I enjoy the drinks and that we usually end up talking. We will talk for 15 minutes on a 2-8 team and
that's about the point of the season when I realized to myself and I asked myself, why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly. I every Saturday or every Sunday morning after the Big Arch preview show, when I roll over and you're in bed with me, I go, why do I keep coming back to this? I know it's a mistake every time.
Yeah, and I'm snuggling you, and then I wake up and
Now we gotta
realize
worry
I
about
just
Noe?
talked 30 minutes on Fabens, and I'm snuggling you.
Progress.
Why am
you
I
went
doing
to a
this?
3 deep on Progresso.
Oh, right. The
that
red
actually
ants.
happened once, folks.
Oh.
Anyway, so let's get into it. Class 4A, Division 1. Our toughest region.
No offense to Fabens.
Oh,
by
no,
the way.
no, not
Got
at all.
One of the best steakhouses in the world.
Okay, I messed up on this. Go ahead and you announce the fourth toughest region in the 4A Division 1.
I'm used to it. Let's go. All right. The fourth, Region 1 in 4A Division 1. Region 1 is the fourth toughest
so that's
region.
what it was.
Right. You got Decatur, who is a big, heavy hitter. After that, you don't have any like huge or middlemen, right? After that, you got El Paso, Riverside, Brownwood, Wichita Falls. But how much can any of those three teams really push Decatur? I don't know. It kind of remains to be seen right now.
I'm going to be honest. Last year, I was huge on Riverside. They came off that 11-2 year, and that was one of our long debates on that Big R's preview show for 4A. I had Riverside making the region finals, and you were like, no, that ain't going to happen. And I was just like, yeah, it is. It's going to happen. They've returned everybody, which they did. A D1 quarterback, a talent all over the field off an 11-2 team that had given Springtown, I think it was the year before, everything they could handle
3 quarters
for 3 quarters, and then Springtown. But still,
cream roasters.
That year. But I thought coming back, and then they get to Big Spring and give up 38 points to Big Spring,
right?
And so now I hate to say it, I'm the exact opposite. I'm on the other, probably too far to the other side, but I at one time I thought Riverside could be a region threat, but to me it's Decatur. And I'm gonna tell you what, Old High, and this is like their last year as Old High, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
I think there's a lot of emotion with that, and you better watch out for them. But let's not forget Brownwood.
I think Brownwood Falls might be the biggest threat to Decatur. However, both of those teams, I think, would have to bring their A game.
Yeah, I think Decatur's going to be really, really good this year. I think the only thing,
running back, probably one of the best running backs in Class 4A, if not all of Texas football.
We've talked about it last year. I didn't like the way the Decatur coaching change went down, but at least on the other end, they came out maybe even better than where they were.
Huff,
College Station, former coach and everything. And look, the only thing hurting Decatur is who they've got to play in the semifinals, no matter who it is. All right, so Region 1 is our fourth toughest. That brings me over to Region 4. Is our third toughest. Now, this one has a team in every district that could be a region threat, but I'm going to be honest, I would be absolutely shocked unless injuries happen if Bernie's not playing in the semifinals. Go ahead and spoil it. I have Bernie going really far again this year, like I think everybody else.
I think, again, Bernie could make a run to state. How good's Cal Allen going to be? Cal Allen
they're always
had some
going to go
rebuilding.
Far.
But, they got the numbers to push Bernie again. And then you got Davenport, Lavernia, Somerset, Port Lavaca, Calhoun.
They're one of the
watch Bernie is the one. Yeah, Calhoun is. Well, all these just named off. But the reason that Region 4 is only the third toughest region is because Bernie is your only big bell cow, and you can't see anybody outside of Cal Allen even pushing them, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Again, you've got I know this sounds weird. We have a coach's show, and I'm not just saying I want to see Uvalde. Uvalde has some really good defensive guys coming back from a team last year. We all know the Cinderella season, but as I was talking with Coach Miller, they're ready to just be a football team again.
Right.
And they're in a district that outside of Bernie, I'm just curious to see what they're going to do. But Bernie, it's going to take, in my opinions, a lot of injuries or a team just really develop quickly. And Davenport, second year, I mean, they do have the talent, but I still think
they got a lot of dudes. Davenport has a lot of dudes.
Bernie just quietly got just super loaded over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And we think about Galloway from 2 years ago and last year's team. We said at the beginning they were better, and they were, and now they're just deeper. And Coach Hendricks is doing such a wonderful job there. But that is still just our third toughest region because our second toughest, and we had debates on this one. This is one of those that if you and I cared enough might have gone to blows. No, I'm kidding. We care enough. We just stop fighting so we break each other's hips. Region 3 is the second toughest, barely being eked out by Region 2, but Region 3. And I think the main reason why is because District 11, the Houston district, is just terrible. I mean, let's just be honest. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But the rest of that, District 9, District 10, District 12. Hey, look, District 12, I know like El Campo, Ruben Owens is gone. Chad Worrell's now at Burleson, but we said it last week, and I said it when it happened. El Campo, in my opinion, made the home run hire of maybe all of 4A.
Travis Reeve.
And maybe of all the shows all the classes that we cover, Travis Reeve at El Campo just fits.
Yeah.
You know, El Campo is a unique place. They're a place that sometimes thinks they're a little bit more blue blood football wise than they really are. And he's the type that can come in and level that out. He's going to take that talent, but he's got a tough district, man. You've got Bay City. You've got Iowa Colony, who's basically a 5A. Let's not forget Navasota. Everybody's already forgot about Navasota. You know, Navasota last year had a nice little run, but people aren't talking about them. And then, of course, District 9, Kilgore, Lindale, Jacksonville, Henderson with a new coach. Apparently the attitude, we have a show there too as well. We have a lot of coaches shows this year, but Henderson, apparently the attitudes are completely changed and the atmosphere is different. Region 3, man, is stacked.
Yeah. You know, and I really think that Region 3 boils down to Chapel Hill, Lumberton, Kilgore, right?
That
and
Lumberton
then Bay City, I think Bay City and Lindale will have something to say about it.
Yeah.
But those teams right there are what make Region 3 the second toughest region in the state.
Well, and to be honest with you, the only reason I'm not ready to give it back to Chapel Hill, who returned the house, is once again, they got to the semifinals last year, so I give them that credit.
I think Coach Reardon, with third time around with this group,
different,
right? I think it's trial and error.
That's a good point. That's a real good point.
Last year didn't work out as well as the first year when they were all freshmen and sophomores. I think, Reardon's a good enough coach.
Oh, heck yeah. And he's building something for the long term.
Yeah, I think Chapel Hill is going to take a step up. I think a lot of people in Bulldog country last year were a little disappointed with how far they went.
Even though they made it to the semifinals.
Right. But I think it was finals or bust for Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
And
no, I totally agree.
I don't think Reardon would have an argument against that. He was looking for finals or bust.
Exactly.
Everybody was looking for finals or bust. I think this year is the year that they got their heads right with ball and they go out and make the finals. So,
you can hear their games, NETSN Live. Now they do it for Texan Live, but the crew does that. They'll also have a Chapel Hill show on NETSN.live. Brett and the crew, they were down there at Coach's School helping us out. And they're also going to be doing our East Texas show. Now, I must trust them to give up the East Texas show because that's where I'm from and that's where I can talk all day about. But those guys do such a wonderful job. So our East Texas show this year will be on our network, but it'll be Brett and the NETSN. Check them out online, NETSN.live. All right, so that leaves Region 2 as the toughest one. And I'll go ahead and be honest, it's because of District 5.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Salina, Anna, Kennedale. All those teams are going to be at certain levels, either taking a step back from last year or taking a step forward. But at the end of the day, District 5 with China Spring, with Stephenville, with Alvarado, and we talked about it last week, La Vega has become dark horse. I mean, 4 years ago, you penciled them in as a region finalist. Now they're a dark horse, not just because they've slipped a little bit, but because of the region they're in. If you put La Vega in Region 1 or Region 4, well, not maybe Region 4 with Bernie, but Region 1, I think they're a favorite. But in this one, they're going to be lucky to be the fourth place team. Right. Well, now they will be the fourth place team. Never mind. I see what the fifth place team is. Watch it live. I feel sorry for that program.
I think Stephenville and China Spring are the bell cows, right, that make Region 2 the toughest. But then you throw in the Salinas and Annas, who Salina and Anna could easily end up, especially maybe even Salina. I think Anna
takes a small step back.
They do, because they got to replace the quarterback, but everybody else is coming back. And I'm telling you, Anna's got somebody roaming in the hallways and can throw the football. right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Or somebody will move in and can throw the football like
right.
Ethan
so
Bullock did.
I think Salina and Anna has every right to think that they could win this region too. And then you did the aforementioned La Vega and Alvarado, then throw in Kennedale and maybe Carter. I don't know. I still
don't
DST
trust Carter. Yeah.
Teams are hard to trust, but throw in Kennedale.
Throw in Panther Creek.
And Panther Creek.
That's
Panther
to me
Creek,
the big what if things develop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They got a great quarterback, right?
They got a great quarterback. They've got numbers. They're in a district that outside of Salina, they should be the second, if worse, the third. But I really think that they'll push Salina this year. And not because Salina's, I think Salina's, I just think Panther Creek is that good. And then we got a Kaufman. You got a Kaufman team.
Yeah.
And hey, and I know this sounds funny, but let's not remember a couple years ago, Nevada Community. Last year, Nevada Community was supposed to finally take that step. And then they took us,
I'm yawning.
Oh, I know. You hate talking the Braves.
I don't hate talking the Braves, but I don't want to talk the Braves on statewide right now.
Anyway, so that is our 4A Division I toughest regions. Again, Region 2 is number 1. Region 3 is number 2.
I'm going to
Region
feel
4
like a
is number 3.
complete ass if community steps up.
I am now 100% on the Braves wagon. When you do this every year, you do this every year.
Do this
no,
every
not with
year.
them. Not with them. I'm just saying with a team. And I always quietly you got me last year with
Why
Riverside.
do you hate me?
No, I just
I'm not Coach
you even
X.
admitted you like it when I go on a rant about a team and they end up doing good. It's fine.
I like it when you go on a rant when, I don't know, Joaquin's going to beat Carthage
by 3 touchdowns.
Right.
No, it was my van. It was the van one.
Yeah.
That's the one. The one I'm wrong on. Yeah.
District.
I would be really, really afraid if Carthage and Joaquin ever teed up.
Hey, you never know, man. New World Order.
Let's finish it out with Class 4A Division 2. We'll start again as the fourth.
Speak freely.
Yes.
All right.
Can always speak
Region
freely.
Region 4 is the 4th toughest region in 4A Division 2.
This isn't like normally where it's because there's only one district. There are actually a couple teams outside of District 13 this year, Sinton and Divine.
Mostly one
but
district.
Let's not forget Bandera. Bandera last year,
right, yeah.
They've now, I know this sounds, crazy, but they've put together 3 straight winning seasons. They've got a coach. And again, we had him at TXHSFB. By the way, we'll be having a Bandera coaching show this year.
Fun that Kelly and I had in Bandera when we went down. We went down for Bernie Cal Allen game in San Antonio, which was the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
and we stayed after the game. We stayed in Bernie for 2 nights.
Yeah,
or not Bernie. I'm sorry, Bandera. For 2 nights and had a blast. Arkeys and all those places. Bandera is about the coolest place you can go, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I hope that they continue the winning ways so maybe we can have an excuse to go down there for a couple home games. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's District 13, it's Navarro, it's Lago Vista, and it's Wimberley. The problem is all 3 of them.
Big dude right now,
but all 3 of them have taken steps back. So one of them's going to win the region, but
I've got something telling me, and I don't know what it is, that Wimberley hasn't taken as much of a step back as what we think.
See, I feel the exact same way about Lago Vista.
Well, Lago Vista, I think Lago Vista is going to do what Lago Vista does. They lost their 2 big playmakers from last year, right?
Oh yeah,
Ethan
Helton and their quarterback Bowen Staub. But they quietly built a really good defense, and most of those guys are back this year.
Right? Yeah. But I think Wimberley's going to have a little bit more to say than what a lot of people think.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. I agree. But I still think if the season were played today all in one, I don't think Wimberley, if they get out of the region, I don't see them winning against the Region 3 team, no matter who that is. But anyway, so Region 4 is our 4th toughest. That means our 3rd toughest is Region 1. Mm-hmm. And that's just, there's just not a lot of depth out there. And to be honest with you, I don't see any of the teams in Region 1 being a true state championship threat.
Well, Glen Rose lost an all-everything quarterback.
Yes.
Almost single-handedly carried them to a win over Carthage. They lose him, but they got everybody else coming back. So obviously, I think the Tigers are the favorite, Region 1. And then after that, you got Hershey, Graham, which, by the way, Graham probably has one of the best quarterbacks in all of Class 4A, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I don't know, Kenyon, West Plains.
Hey, look at that. They had a great first season last year. A lot of people thought that they were going to struggle, and they actually bounced back. But again, they were in a district that just wasn't strong.
Right.
And again, I still say it. I just don't. If one of these teams makes the state championship, I will be very, very shocked.
Yeah. Okay, so the toughest region in Class 4A.
Well, our second toughest. We got our second toughest. We haven't done it yet. Region 3.
Region 3. Yeah, I'm getting a little ahead of myself there.
Now, this one was tough because Region 2 and Region 3, they're very similar, except for Region 2 has Gilmer, Pleasant Grove, and Carthage. And at the end of the day, those three are it top-heavy the region. Now, in saying that, you still got Aubrey, you still got Caddo Mills, and you still got Center. You still got a team like Liberty Ilo and Pittsburgh. Both of those feel that they're going to be way better this year. But, man, when you're talking – when you're literally saying that maybe all three state championship winning teams are in two districts in one region, you're allowed to be a little top heavy, because that's just Carthage alone is so far ahead of everybody. But then you add Gilmer, and then you have Pleasant Grove, and it stacks Region 2 way ahead.
It does, but let me tell you why Region 3 is very close. Silsbee and Cuero to start.
Yes.
And was that not a classic, by the way?
Yes.
Silsbee Cuero last year, right? If we get a rematch
went
of that.
Down to a controversial play. And I mean, as a third-party fan, we love that. Now, I know if you're a fan of one of the teams and you feel that you got hosed, but as for me, the third party, I want all the playoff games to be like that.
Absolutely.
And by the way, real quick, I just want to say sorry. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this while getting this stuff together when we were coming back home yesterday. The playoffs last year for us, we saw some of the most classic games, whether it be Columbus and Lorena, or whether it was Anna and Stephenville. I mean, it seemed like every week, every game we went to, in fact, 3 weeks in a row, every game we went to came down to a kick or a missed kick at the end of the game for the win.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry. Continue.
So this is why Region 3 is very close to being the toughest region, even though they're not.
It's really
Region 2
deep.
is Silsbee Cuero, right? If we see that rematch, man, it'd be great. But then Jasper, man, best linebacker.
Dude, Jasper's not far from being a top
linebackers
5 team
in the country.
Yes.
Belleville, Waco Conley. I mean, Conley and Jasper are going to be two big dogs that are up there with Silsbee and Cuero.
Well, what you said, Jasper, best linebackers. Belleville, one of the best running or defensive linemen. I mean, that kid's a Dalen Mack starter kit.
Yeah.
This and look at Brookshire Royal. I mean, we were talking about them as a dark horse.
I think Brookshire Royal is going to be a lot better than what people think.
And it's crazy.
Brookshire Royal and Madisonville are your two, I want to say, dark horses in this region, but could challenge Cuero and Silsbee, either two of those teams. I mean, like Brookshire Royal's athletic enough to hang with anybody in the state.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I agree. For them, it's just finding consistency, winning all the downs, winning the downs that you need to, making and it's not even like winning when I mean scoring. It's turning a 3rd and 8 last year into a 3rd and 3 and a more makeable first down. Simple things like that. And
have you
they're
been
going to figure that
out?
out.
Brookshire game, by the way?
No,
it's awesome. So
no, never have.
It's been several years since I've been there, but it's basically in the middle of a rice field.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome, right? Except if you go in September, the mosquitoes are bigger than a buzzard.
Yeah.
But they got Repkas right outside of Brookshire to eat at, a Cajun restaurant.
Oh my gosh,
man. It's probably heaven on earth to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
that's
anyway.
There's a lot of heavens on earth in Texas for us, and that's a big key when you say that. But then we mentioned Belleville, Waco, Conley. I mean,
Conley was Kiefer Sibley. I mean, goodness gracious.
The difference simply was Gilmer, Pleasant Grove, and Carthage. That's just so much at the top.
Yeah.
When you're talking 3 teams from the top 5, and think about it this way. I don't remember the last time we've seen a region or a division like this where you're your 5 top teams are in 2 regions. There's not one spread out in 3 or 4. Right. I mean, those are all tier 1 teams. Easy.
How about Carthage needing to find a quarterback, and they come back with Jet Surratt, Scott Surratt's son,
who some say will be the best,
yes,
and has a coach's son.
Yeah, I've already started watching film on him. He's got a cannon, and he's accurate. Oh, and the kid's just a stud.
It's amazing. And he's like a sophomore?
Sophomore.
Yes. Was he a freshman last year?
Freshman last year. He got some playing time.
Yeah.
But
so you might as well, all the Scott Surratt rumors, at least for the next 3 years, you might as well just put him to bed. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, I think it would take a Texas type, because he has pointed for 6 years now that I remember when there was he was flirting with some other school, or supposedly he said, look, I'm not going anywhere until he graduates.
Why would he?
Yeah. Why would you? Not only because, and that's the thing, more and more talking with like Marcus Schultz, his son, they're in that age. That's more important, I think, than people realize, that finding a place where your kid, when they're in 6th or 7th grade, because you still feel like they can develop and be part of the community, and by the 4 or 5 years, and how important that is for coaches nowadays. Yeah. And he ain't going nowhere. And sadly for everybody else, Carthage ain't going anywhere as well. All right. I think we've put this one to bed, my friend.
That was fun. I can't wait to do toughest districts next week.
We got toughest districts, then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we will do our Big Osh preview shows, and then we'll be right in the season. We're recording this on July 19th, or basically a week and a month away, or a month and a week away, if you want to say it the right way.
And I want to say something to the fans out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Spay and neuter your pets.
And again, you're behind that mic. Why do you hide behind the mic, Grant?
Spay and neuter your pets.
You have such a pretty smile.
From Bob
Barker.
Right. Yeah, Bob Barker.
Yeah. Apparently, while he was spaying and neutering his pants, he was expecting the
pants.
I was saying he was expecting the ladies to spray and.
What? I don't get it.
What do you think? He was known as being aggressive towards the Price is Right girls.
If I was a game show host, I probably would too.
Anyway,
why you drown me out?
I'm just going to. We gotta go.
More
man. The show.
Less music.
Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. We want to remind you can find us on Facebook, Sideline to Sideline, on Twitter at Grant and Terry. Email us at Grant and Email us. I should have never told you we were on video. You'd have never known the whole year. You can find us through email, Grant and Terry at s2ssport.com. You can also email me, Terry at s2ssport.com. Find us on the web, s2ssport.com, also s2sgrantandterry.com, or l4media.com. Until the toughest district show next week, he's Grant, I'm Terry. We thank you for joining us here on Sideline to Sideline, brought to you by SI Design and Printing on the L4 Media Company.